Welcome to Uphill Powder Hour. I'm really excited to add this as a course option this year. I had lots of inquiries last year and brainstormed with a few friends on how to add in another element to a lot of the skiing that we like to do, right? It's not all about downhill, it's about uphill. So similar movements to hiking in the lower legs. So you'll see some focus on those muscles, but then also a lot on getting the arms into the mix, and then also a lot of strengthening and connecting the kind of like our upper body to our lower body. A lot of that all has to do with a lot of the fascial connections in our back called the thoracolumbar fascia, and we'll do quite a few exercises you'll start to see throughout. One of them is a bird dog. I'll explain kind of what's going on there. But when you're pulling, right, and you're skinning up, what people don't realize is, if you haven't really thought about it or you're newer to the sport, when you pull with one arm or two arms, say you're Nordic skiing, and you're trying to create a little bit of momentum or power, if you're not connecting your upper body to your lower body, you're going to lose all of the energy of the motion. So if I'm pulling and I'm really rigid and strong and I've learned how to control those two pieces on each other, then I'm going to be able to move more efficiently and more quickly because I'm moving as like one kind of like solid piece. If I was like not connected and you go to pull, or you're pulling as you skin up, you're just losing power. All that energy is going to be lost in that connection of what's happening in your legs and then what's happening in your arms. So it's a lot of core. It's a lot of core in the back of your body. So we'll start to delve a little bit more into that and a little bit heavier on those topics than I did in the typical standard powder hour. So it should be fun. I'm excited. We'll probably do a little bit more aerobic, get your heart rate up a little bit more throughout this uphill version. For all you people who love to, use it as a workout, get the heart rate up. Last year, I had good feedback. Some people were saying to do these the most efficiently. They were printing out the workout from the Google Doc, and then they had whatever, they had a phone or an iPad or a computer, however they were watching some of the videos. It seemed like that was the best way to get through these workouts the most efficiently. A few things have changed from last year. We moved up to Jackson. I am just starting my own physical therapy business, so that's exciting. So it's been a fun few months trying to navigate all of that, and just really excited to be back with Powder Hour. It created an awesome community. I had so much fun, people just stopping me randomly, telling me how much fun they had, and then they like ski off. So it's those moments that are great, and then also people sharing just that they enjoyed skiing a little bit more. It wasn't quite as painful, maybe learn to embrace the pain a little bit, and so all great things. So if you've never done this before, you'll find out pretty quickly how each workout is run. I'll have you do kind of whatever kind of warm-up you want to do, jog in place, butt kickers, high knees, rotate, feel whatever feels good to warm up. And then you'll do a AMRAP, so that's as many reps as possible, stolen from CrossFit. And you'll have 4 exercises, and you'll just rotate through those 4 for 5 to 10 minutes, however long of a warm-up you want to do. And then there'll be 3 different sections of the workout with 3 exercises, and generally it'll be about a minute each. So as we get going, I'll probably start to add in small little one-off exercises, sometimes in between the groups, just to get your heart rate up and make it a little bit more aerobic, so you get a little bit more of a workout. So anyway, we're going to move into the first AMRAP. The first exercise is going to be an air squat, and what you'll hear in the first week or 2 here is we're really building fundamentals. I want to make sure you're all thinking about how you're moving, why you're moving that certain way, and then which muscles you're engaging to move through the motion. A lot of these will mimic or try to mimic what we're doing when we're skiing, and what I want all of you to learn is how to think about how your body's moving. I feel like it's a big hole in our awareness, often why people end up getting hurt because they don't really understand how or why they're moving and how gravity and forces are acting on you. So if you can learn any of that throughout the next 8 weeks, that's awesome. That's really my mission in life as a PT. I've learned is I get the biggest gratification teaching people, enabling them the why on how their sports or their job or any aspect of their life affects them physically, and then how can you kind of override that, the forces that are acting on you through movement, exercise, and awareness. So that's my little soapbox. Can't help it, but have to share it. So anyway, back to air squats. You'll do 10 of these, up and down, squatting. You know, you don't want to have your knees go too far forward, so that isn't great. You want to send your hips back, hinge at the hip, down and up. So basically like you're sitting in a chair. Most skiers are pretty good at squatting because we tuck so much. From the front view, if you go down, you just want to look down and make sure, if I can look down and I can see my inner toes still, then that means my femurs are probably in a good spot. If they're coming in, which as we know, A-framing is not cool, that's just going to put more strain on your knees and a movement and a position we don't want to enforce. So always look down, see if you can see your big toe. That's air squats. You're going to do 10 bridges. So I'm going to take a minute here and talk about neutral spine. So neutral spine is thinking about your low back and your pelvis. You can totally be rounded. You can be totally arched. Neutral spine is in the middle. And so we're going to do a lot of work in neutral spine. And so you want to be able to find it, and then you want to be able to hold it there. So that's cinching in that kind of corset around your low belly. I find if people push in from their sides and then try to contract your core muscles and feel the muscles push out, that works pretty well. You can make kind of like a noise of like, kind of a funny noise like that, and that will kind of engage them. And so make that sound with your mouth and then try and maintain that contraction. So bridges, you find neutral spine, you squeeze your glutes, consciously turn those things on. We sit so much as a population, we often have a hard time consciously engaging our butt muscles. Again, you'll hear a lot about the butt throughout this next 8 weeks. So squeeze your glutes, lift up, and then try and keep them on all the way down, and then relax. Squeeze, up, down. So you'll do 10 of those. You'll have 10 lateral lunges next. You're going to do 5 on each side alternating. So you're going to step out to the side, send your hips back and down, and you're going to power up, out, down, power up. From the side, that's going to look like this. My knee is not going out over my toes. Try to turn my core on and power up. So 10 of those total, and then 10 jumping jacks to finish it out. You're just going to roll through those 4 exercises for however long you've chosen, and then we'll get into the next first set. So first set, we're going to start with the basics, dying bugs. Here we're going to reinforce that neutral spine concept and find neutral spine, knees and feet at 90 degrees, arms up, and now you're going to drop one arm down, one leg back, come back up to center. When you start moving your arms overhead, the tendency is to let the ribs flare, but you need to fight that and hold that down. And I want you to go slowly and try not to do the like straight leg. I know you can probably do it, but today I want you to go slow and really think about what muscles you feel engaging, what you might feel tiring, and use this as just like a learning exercise. You're going to turn onto your stomach, move into a mountain climber. So you're going to basically start in a tall plank position, and then you're going to start to pull one knee in towards your nose. And if you want to go slow, no problem. If you want to pick it up, and you're going to try to keep your kind of hips quiet. You want to limit the bounce. Because if you can keep your core and everything tight and isolate those legs underneath you, that's a really good skill to have because you're stabilizing one part of your body, moving the other part. So a minute's long for those. So take your time, take breaks if you need to. The next one, you're going to need a band. So you're going to put a band around your ankles. This is one if you want to hang on to something for balance. That's great. It's not a balance exercise. So you're going to stand on one leg. You're going to rotate your other leg 20 degrees out. And then you're gonna kick back about 45 degrees. And you can kind of like pulse there. If you have different kinds of bands, I would go in the middle range. This one's a little stiff, so I don't get a lot of motion, but you should feel it like right in here. Watch what's happening in your standing leg. Make sure it's not locked, and also make sure you're not collapsing. So nice and strong and tall here, and you'll actually feel the outer side of this leg working pretty hard to stabilize. So do 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other side. The next set of exercises, we're going to start with a single leg balance. And for this, you can do it on the ground, on any balance device you have, a pillow, anything that's going to make it a little more challenging. You're going to stand on one leg. If you have a 5 to 10 weight object, could be anything, you can get creative. You're going to stand and you're going to shift the weight side to side. As you can see, you have to calibrate that medial lateral shift side to side, and so it's just going to challenge all of your muscles. So you can do 30 seconds on each side. Next is going to be a Bulgarian lunge. If you want to, if you've done these before, you can add weight. But what you're going to do is you're going to take any kind of step, chair, really anything that gets your back foot up off the ground. It can be lower than this, whatever you have. And you're going to put one foot back on the step, move into a lunge position. Make sure your feet are on 2 lanes of the road, not on a balance beam. And then you're going to focus on dropping that back knee down and coming up. So you'll see my body's moving pretty vertically. It's not moving forward. When I get down to the bottom and I come up, I'm going to, again, turn that core on. The bum of my front leg should be powering me up into hip extension. So you're going to do this for a minute, and then you're going to switch 30 seconds, and then you're going to switch legs, do 30 seconds on the other side. And now we're just going to do a good old plank. Let's go plank on elbows today. And my core is on, my quads are on. I'm trying to sort of like push the ground away with my elbows so that I'm not collapsed down through there. So I'm pushing away, and you're going to hold this hopefully for a minute. If you feel like you are losing your form, just stop. I'm all about quality over quantity. If you feel like form's going down the drain, but it's only been 50 seconds, stop. Don't feel like you have to push it, especially at the beginning here, and that'll just be a nice way to see progress. So maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be like, oh, I can do it for 10 seconds longer with really nice form, and that's just a really nice way to see progress. So that's your second set of exercises. Third set, you're going to do a lateral shuffle with jump. I'm going to have a small space here, but if you have a hallway, you can make your lateral shuffle as long as you want. Get into a nice athletic position, and you're going to shuffle sideways pretty quickly, and then you're going to jump, shuffle, 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 jump, shuffle, 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 jump. As we start jumping, watch your knees. People tend to drop them in when they land and take off, so watch your form there. And you'll notice as we progress through our 8 weeks, we'll probably start doing a little more power-based exercises, like jumping, because skiing, making a nice ski turn is all about power. So we won't be doing as much of that at the beginning, and we'll progress into it. Next is a sidestepping with a band around your ankles. I've been playing around with this a little bit lately. I used to always cue feet parallel, but I found my TFL, my hip flexors kicking in a lot. So if I turn my legs out just slightly and move sideways, it really targets the muscle in the back of the glute here, which is what I want to feel. Knees are slightly bent, nice and controlled. I'm trying to keep my upper body quiet and just move my legs. So a minute of these, you're going to feel a nice burn in your glutes. Lastly, for this workout, we're going to do a squat with forward press. So you can use a weight. You don't have to use a weight today if you want. I'm using about 10 pounds. I wouldn't go any heavier than that. Any kind of 10-pound object. So you're basically going to squat down and press forward and then come back up. So you're squatting and pressing, coming back up. As I press out, all my back muscles are working pretty hard to fight gravity. Because I'm reaching out, that lever's getting a lot longer, so it's a lot more work. If I held my weight here and I went down, I don't feel it that much in my back muscles. I go out, and it's a ton in my back muscles. We'll see quite a bit of these types of movements because when you're skiing, right, if you're in some sort of like, you know, flexed hip skiing position, say you hit a compression, you've probably all had that sensation of like, kind of like losing control of your upper body. And that strength that's gonna help you there is all in that back, right? So we're trying to recreate some of those gravity forces we get when we're skiing. So nice and slow and controlled, do those for a minute. And we're just gonna start out with good old-fashioned tuck holds for our little tuck series here. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go into a tuck for 15 seconds, and then you're gonna do quick up and down for 15 seconds. Do that twice, and then do all of it again. So start to get a little bit of that quad burn. It's really hard to recreate exactly what happens to the quads when we ski. Downhill boots, some AT boots will put us into quite a bit of ankle flexion, which then flexes the knee, which then turns the quad on. That is why first time skiing every year, or if you skin up Tuckerman Ravine Trail and ski down the Sherby, you're tired from skinning, and then you get the pumped quads, because as soon as your knees are bent, your quads are on, right? For the whole run, and you're going up and you're going down and you're holding, and it's just quad, quad, quad. That's why with these exercises, we're gonna try to start to recreate that burn to make it so it doesn't hurt quite as much at the beginning of skiing. Although, I'll be honest, I sadistically like it a little bit because then I know I'm skiing. But that might just be me. Anyway, have fun. Let me know if you have any questions. Feedback is awesome. And welcome to Uphill Powder Hour.